Hello, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we'll be looking at Skylords Reborn, and today's video we'll be looking at a tier list of how I will rank PvE maps in Skylords Reborn based on their difficulty if you are playing it on expert and solo. Because mainly I'm a solo player due to time zone differences, and I log in, there's not a lot of people playing, so it is quite tough to find a game, and therefore I have to resort to thinking of creative ways to win these maps on expert. So obviously for 4-player maps, usually it will be harder than single-player maps. So how I would mainly rate how difficult a map is are based on 3 criteria. So the first criteria is that is this map able to be cheesed? Is it very easy to execute cheese strategies for the particular map? Secondly, is this map very complex based on its objectives? Are there many objectives to complete, and if you do not complete, will you fail? And the last, is the map time sensitive? Do you have to complete it within a certain time? If not, it will be very difficult, or you will just lose the game entirely. I think that it will be quite a fair judgment based on those 3 criteria alone. So without further ado, let's dive straight into this video and I will tell you what I think of these PvE maps. Are they really difficult or not? With this, let's start out with our first map, and our first map is the Bad Harvest. Bad Harvest is a 4-player map. I would say really difficult because there's an objective where you have to protect the gold wagon, and if the gold wagon is destroyed, you will lose the game. And also Bad Harvest is a defensive game, so there are enemies constantly attacking you, and you are also able to lose all your monuments and lose the game as well. So in order to win Bad Harvest on expert, you require some precise strategies, and there's not a lot of leeway or like divergence in how you can win this map alone. Therefore, I would think that Bad Harvest is very close to the God tier or Master tier level. Definitely at least a Master tier level, because even for me it is a really difficult map to complete, and I'm not sure if I even have done this on expert difficulty. So because even I have not done this on solo before, I'll put it as God tier. It's just too tedious to do. I have tried it many times, but there were a couple of times where I was very close to winning it, but it is just too many things running around on the map. You have to focus on many different defensive elements while trying to push and attack, and there's also like some way where you have to attract monsters to attack some buildings to sort of like ease up in enemy spawning. So there's too many things that you have to get it perfectly in order for this to be done much more simply. So with that, I think Bad Harvest is in God tier. Very difficult to execute. Usually I would survive until about the 10 to 15 minute mark, and then I would lose the game because I'm just too slow. So really difficult for players to complete this on expert difficulty. Only a handful, but of course if I practice and consistently play it, I will definitely get it. But with so much time spent, definitely God tier for Bad Harvest. So the second map we'll be looking at is Behind Enemy Lines. It's a 1-player map, and the difficult thing about Behind Enemy Lines is that you have to constantly look at the enemies going through the line, the Twilight Disciples, and if you do not kill it, it might transform into a Twilight Abomination and attack your base. So that is an element of difficulty, and also patrolling units around. They have the Twilight Horror, Twilight Devastator. Both of these units is kind of like about tier 3, so you kind of have to defend against tier 3 units using only tier 1. And with that, I don't think that it is super easy. After playing a while, you can get a hang of it and know what cards to play to help you win the game much more easily. So it wouldn't be too difficult at a master level and above, but it will not be easy at the easy level. So for Behind Enemy Lines, it will be hovering around normal to hard. I'll put Behind Enemy Lines as a normal map to play on expert. There's also no such time limits to win this game, except you have to make sure that you kill the Twilight Disciples to make your game less difficult. We look at Blight. It's a 4-player map, and the good thing about Blight is that there are no constant enemy forces attacking you, except if you fail to destroy the bandit tents or the garrisons. A horde of bandit units will be attacking you, but other than that, there's no any offensive attack, and it's not really time sensitive apart from destroying the garrison. So as long as you can get a monument up and all of the garrisons has been deployed, you're able to drag on the game, build power, and try to push your way slowly through the map. And because of that, it will not be a God tier, never a God tier. When you attempt it on solo, it's more of a very tedious map where is an endurance match. How long can you go? How long can you play the game? So I would say Blight is hard if you play on solo. It's definitely not easy and normal, but it's also definitely not a god tier map at all. Next, we look at Convoy, and for Convoy, the most difficult thing is the time sensitivity of it, having your walkers getting destroyed. Usually it will be destroyed by 11 minutes, so you have to sort of find some way to heal your walkers or to destroy the enemy power shrine at the end of the map. So for this, time sensitive wise, quite difficult, and there's also constant stone key units that will be attacking your monument or your base. So yeah, put it as hard. As you can see, Blight and Convoy are alongside, but there are vast differences for this. And for Blight, you can kind of like complete the map, but it will take a super long time. But for Convoy, if you do not complete it fast enough, you would 100% lose the game. And next we look at Crusade. A little bit of a time element, and the enemy inside the base honestly is not that difficult, and you can clear it with tier 2 once you reach your northern defenses. So for Crusade, expert difficulty on solo, I don't think it's very difficult at all, as long as you even have the right cards to choose to push through and finish the base. So for Crusade, I would say that it is not very difficult at all to complete, so it's a normal tier for me. And next is Defending Hope, and at first glance I think Defending Hope might look difficult because there's so many elements attacking you. You have to constantly build up your defenses, and there's so many things rushing you, and you have to micromanage many things. But also note that for Defending Hope, immediately right at your base you have tier 3, so if you play it correctly, it is an extremely easy game to finish. So it's one of the games where if there's an achievement or if there's some like challenge for me to complete using like card restrictions or number of cards in your deck, Defending Hope is my first map to go for, because it is really easy to complete with very few cards. I can complete it with even like 4 cards in the deck. So Defending Hope is really easy tier for me. And next we got Encounters with Twilight, very basic map, but the difficulty comes in Encounters with Twilight is the middle camp, where there are constant like Twilight Whisperers and Twilight Veil Bloods that will be spawning, so that is a little bit difficult and tedious. But again, if you have the correct cards, you're able to do it very easily, like swapping, getting the Twilight Veil Blood, if you know what I mean. So honestly, with the correct cards, it is really easy. But if you do not have the correct cards, it will be under normal difficulty. Obviously, I'm just saying that Encounters with Twilight is cheesable if you perform some strategies. That's why it is just easy. Next, Heart of Trouble is the newest Skylords Reborn PvE map, and for Heart of Trouble, it is not particularly easy because the longer you drag the game, the longer you try to push and fight and you can't get through to one of the camps. You don't really have access to tier 3 or even tier 4, and as time goes by, the waves attacking your base also get stronger, so you can actually lose quite quickly in the game itself. Of course, there are also ways that you can make the map a lot easier, but because it is also a new map, there are some strategies that are yet to be explored. So factoring that it's a little bit of an unknown for a new map, it will be a normal tier difficulty. But if along the way there are people who find many ways to cheese Heart of Trouble, then it will be down tiered to easy. But for now, I think it's quite a doable map, quite a normal tier difficulty map. And next on the list is Into the Jungle, and for Into the Jungle, I think it is quite a tough map to solo. I've tried soloing on Pure Fire, but there's always something that gets in my way and I lose the game, so it's quite terrible. Very tedious map to play. Definitely not easy and not normal. Hard, I would say it's harder than hard. Into the Jungle is not god tier, definitely not god tier, definitely easier than Bad Harvest. But Into the Jungle is a master tier. It's really tough to play on solo. You have to get a lot of things right to make sure that you destroy some buildings and kind of like get your defenses up quickly if you want to take attacks, and the attacks are really strong if you fail to destroy the encampments. I still think Into the Jungle is a master tier to solo based on so many time sensitive elements, and even the units attacking your base, they can get really strong. Offensive, defensive, tough, so master tier for this. Next, King of the Giants. King of the Giants, is super easy to cheese. There are many strategies. I can even play with just tier 3 cards and I can win this map. The key is to play flying units for King of the Giants so that you can bypass many of the walls and just attack off the units that will block Rogan's way. So even though it's a 4-player map, King of the Giants really is easy. Even with the nerf of enemy monument, it is still quite easy to complete. But okay, maybe because there's a nerf of enemy monument which makes this map super easy, I will bump King of the Giants up to normal tier, just because you have to use tier 3 to attack the base to get tier 4. So that's the only reason why I move King of the Giants up to a normal tier. Next we look at Mo again. Once again, I think it's a super easy map just because you got Mo, very strong unit, and there's no time sensitivity attached to it, so it's really easy to complete this map. Also one of the few maps along with Defending Hope where I would try to complete challenges that has so many card restrictions, so Mo is easy for me. Next, Nightmare Shard. Nightmare Shard, you have to know the mechanics of the map before it gets easier for you, but definitely not easy and definitely not super hard. I would rate Nightmare Shard if you play on solo to be between a normal and a hard difficulty. You are very well versed with some cheesing strategies, it will be under normal difficulty, so I just put it here, Nightmare Shard normal difficulty if you solo it. So next is Nightmares, and this one is honestly it's a lot more different than Nightmare Shard. There's too many things that you have to get to gel well together so that you can complete all the objectives together, especially to activate the node for the final countdown to defend the shard. So overall it's a very long map and a very tedious map to complete, but it's not super hard because there's no time sensitivity attached to this map, and it's also not easy because it's such a tedious map. I would say Nightmare's End hard difficulty. And next, Ocean. I would say Ocean is pretty easy if you know how to use certain cards, and there's really no reason to clear a lot of the island. So if you know the mechanics of Ocean and which places to go, which place to get your monument, how you can easily get your monument and to get additional units like Death Ray, Ocean is under the easy tier list for me. Right, so next after Ocean we got Oracle, and for Oracle it is definitely not as easy as Ocean or Defending Hope, but there's no time element attached to it, so it is relatively easier than many other maps. I wouldn't say that it's a hard map. For me, Oracle is between an easy to a normal tier, but I'll just put it as normal because Oracle tends to be a map that runs a bit longer and you need to have a certain endurance to finish this map. Usually for Oracle, it will go 20, 25 or even 30 minutes for players, so because of that I'll put it under a normal tier list. Next, Raven's End, 4-player map, and for Raven's End map is super easy to complete for various reasons. Number one, no time sensitivity attached to this map, and number two, there's so many monuments all around. You can actually change gates to have the Stone Keys and Bandit attack each other. So because of that, all you need to do is at tier 1 you just need units to counter whatever enemies that will be attacking your monument and slowly push. Once you're able to push, get your tier 2 and etc., this map is easy. It is just a very long map because you have to sort of like destroy many bandit bases to build up all of the monuments in order to finish the last objective to unlock more from the chains. So Raven's End, because it's very tedious, it is, I would just say it's not easy. Give it a chance. I'll put it similar to King of the Giants on sort of like a normal difficulty tier to finish Raven's End. Next we got Siege of Hope. Again, if you know how to cheese this map, know how to push, know what units to use, it's really easy. But if you don't really know any tactics and you try to defend the base itself, this can be really tough. The main key for Siege of Hope is to destroy the first encampment right in the middle of the map as quickly as possible, and if you're able to do that, it is easy. If not, it will be hard for you to complete. Next we got Slave Master, and Slave Master, I'll just tell you my rating first. I will put it as easy because I would say this is essentially a 2-player map, even though you solo, and if you have 2 players, it's a 3-player map because you have your Twilight, you have your teammate, and you got yourself, and if you play solo you got your Twilight as your teammate and you got yourself to play. So essentially it's a 2-player game. Just have the Twilight just clear the camp for yourself if you're a new player. There's no time sensitivity revolving around it except for the end where you have to save the crewman, but that is not really exactly a time sensitive issue itself. So for Slave Master, really quite easy. I put it as an easy tier. Next, Sunbridge, again, super cheesable, very easy to win this just cause you can switch the enemy gates around and you won't get any waves. I would say it's easier than Sunbridge on Advanced, because on Advanced you have enemy waves attacking you, but for Expert, if you switch the gates around time and time again, there will only be like Twilight archers that be attacking you. So Sunbridge, cheese, easy tier. But if you don't cheese, I would say it is still a normal to hard, but won't be above hard at all. Alright, next we got Dwarven Riddle, and for Dwarven Riddle, the reason why it will be ranked easy or normal is because it has a fire altar which can help you buy time to destroy all the enemy waves. But again, I wouldn't say it is easy because it still requires some form of like strategy and a little bit of luck involved. But once again, if enemy monument is not nerfed for the game, Dwarven Riddle would be under the easy tier list, because straight away you can get tier 4 once you clear the first base. So because once again enemy monument has been nerfed, this map is, I would consider, a normal difficulty tier list. And next is Guns of Liar. Super tough to solo because the enemy waves get strong quickly and you just have to get some defenses up or play some really smart moves. And honestly, for one of these Guns of Liar map, for that there was a easy way we can complete this speed run in about 6 minutes or so, which I've done. However, for that strategy, it does not work anymore. Having that strategy removed, I've come close to winning this map on solo many times using different kinds of card plays, but I have not successfully done it. Really close to winning, but I just needed a few more seconds to not have my stronghold get destroyed, but still very difficult, so I'll put it as master. Really tough. It's almost a god tier, but I think if you master the strategy, it is under the master tier list for Guns of Liar. Right, next we got the Insane God. Requires specific cards to play to make the gameplay easier, but again, I would say it's not as time sensitive, only that the longer you drag time, the stronger the attacks will become. But I would say that even though the attacks are strong, you have certain cards that can make your gameplay easier for defenses, and you can just straight away attack Urza to win the game. So there are many elements that you can use to speed up the game and to make your run easier. So in single, I just say it's normal tier. Next, the Soultree. Once again, if you know how to play this map, to cheese it, to finish all the Horde of Twilight. So yeah, that's the main thing that gets beginners. It is the Horde of Twilight that's attacking your wall, and if you can get past that, very easy. So I'll put it as easy tier. Right, next, the Treasure Fleet. And once again, if you know how to cheese the map, it is super easy to complete this map. And I would say that even if you run through it normally, there are strategies where you can play to make this map so much easier. Even though I wouldn't put it as easy or normal, this Treasure Fleet, I'll put it between easy and normal. But alright, but once I see the maps that are easy, I'll say Treasure Fleet is a normal tier. A little bit more fair to say that it's easier than most of the maps, or all of the maps under easy section. Next is Titans. The only way you can solo Titans is if you play position 4, because that is the most important role, and it's also not exactly easy to finish it on solo. You require specific strategies, and with the nerf of certain units and certain cards that you can swap around, I would say Titans is between hard and normal difficulty. But I would say because Titans highly time sensitive and you have to complete it fast. On top of that, you have to use specific cards, which means that you are sort of restricted to op color that you have to play. So due to restrictions automatically imposed on you for Titans, if you want to solo the map, I think it's under a hard tier. Right, last we got Unexpected Visitors. 2-player map, one of the newer Skylords Reborn map, and honestly it takes quite a bit of time to master. So for Unexpected Visitors, just a touch below Into the Jungle. I think Into the Jungle is still much more difficult to solo, but Unexpected Visitors, once you get the hang of it, you can solo this map no problem at all. I'll just put it hard, but honestly it can be between a hard and a master tier level. So this is it for my PvE tier list. I have excluded Empires and 12-player maps because you can't solo, If Empires were to be placed here, it will be beyond God tier list because there's nobody that can solo Empire. You'll just immediately lose the game. And yeah, this is my final tier list once again, and if you enjoy my video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys again real soon for my next video.